Hi, thank you for being here today with me. So I guess if you are here, you love media app, but also afterward there is the lunch time. So no worries, I'm not going to take too much of your time. You will be able to grab some lunch afterward. So yeah, the goal of my talk is about media app and what you can do really easily to improve your app, like a lot of quick wins, like things that you can add in your app in 1 or 2 days to improve the experience of your user, to have a really cool app. So my name is Antoine Danois. I'm 27 years old. I like cars, rockets, and anything related to television. Right now, I'm working at Tag Heuer, so the watch brand, to work on connected watches. Before that, I was working here in London at Citymapper, and before that, I was working at Canal Plus in Paris. For the folks that don't know about Canal Plus, it's like Sky Television here. Yeah, a lot of media and television stuff, video. So the first thing that you can add to your application is to support Android Auto. Android Auto is great to display the content to your user. So obviously you can't display any kind of videos, it's just audio content, but it's not that hard to implement. Your app needs to support at least the SDK 23, and then it's just a bunch of declaration. You have to say that your app is supporting Android Auto. You have to declare a media browser service, specify a few app icons, and then just build your content hierarchy. Everything will be displayed on the user's car screen, and you just read the content as usual with Exoplayer. So one thing, Android Auto is different than Android Automotive. Android Automotive, it's a completely different way to build an app for a car. So yeah, I'm not going to talk about it because it's going to take a tiny bit more than a day to build something for it. But yeah, Android Auto is definitely something that you should do. If you want as well, you can support Wear OS and or Android TV. Obviously, it's going to take a bit more than a day to support those things. But at the end, if you are an Android developer working on smartphones, you already know how to build an app on Wear OS or Android TV. You can use Compose, you can use view models, you can use coroutines, anything that you love and already like and use every day are available on those devices. The main thing is just to keep in mind the constraints of the device. For example, a Wear OS watch, there is a tiny screen and a tiny battery. On the TV, you are going to control your UI with a remote. So just keep that in mind, but for everything else, is just as usual. You can support also audio with head tracking and special audio. It's enabled by default by the device on Android if everything is compatible and enabled by the user. So with those functions, you can check if the device is supporting spatial audio, and also you can check if your content can support spatial audio. If your content is already processed for spatial audio, you can say that it's already specialized to avoid double processing. If your content is double processed, it's going to sound terrible. So yeah, don't forget to use that if you did the specialization yourself. And obviously, you have to test it to be sure that there is nothing messing with your content. So yeah. You can support picture-in-picture. So this tip is not really related to just media apps. Any kind of app can use it. For example, Google Maps, you probably saw that. And it's really easy to implement in your app. You just declare it to your manifest that you are supporting picture-in-picture. Then on your activity, you can just call the method enter picture-in-picture mode. If you want, you can customize the window to set ratio, size, etc. And then you just have to not forget to adapt your activities UI. At the end, it's just your entire activity that is being resized. So yeah, you just remove a bunch of components and you should be good to go. There is a method also to check if you are currently working in picture-in-picture mode. So yeah, like picture-in-picture is really interesting to use. Also as a user, I'm sure any kind of app can benefit of supporting picture-in-picture. One thing that I thought that would have been really hard to implement is to download any kind of content. You know, if there is a problem with the 4G antenna, or you are just riding in the tube and you don't have any network, being able to download the content to read it later is really interesting. First, you just create a download service that will download the content, a download manager to handle the different state, and declare a cache. You must handle different states of downloading, like start, resume, pause, and stop, and obviously update the UI of your app to be like that the user will be able to know if the content is downloading or not. Then to play the content, it's really easy as well. You just use the cache object that you have created, and at the end it's exactly like any kind of content that you are reading with ExoPlayer. You just use a cache data source factory, give your cache to that, and then read your content. It's not that hard. Obviously, you can also read adaptive streams like Dash, smooth streaming, or HLS. There is no worries to have. It's different, but it's definitely doable. I'll let you look on internet if you are interested. But yeah, anything can be downloaded and read later. Also, you can support Google Assistant. Yes, Google Assistant is still here. We can do plenty of things with it. And so, yeah, feel free to support Google Assistant. For example, you can handle search requests. If the user can look for any kind of content, an album, an artist, etc. And then your app will know what the user is looking for, and you can start the content directly. Obviously, you should always have a way to fall back. If the user asks for something and you didn't find it, you can just give him something close to that is probably the same. But yeah, it's definitely something really cool to implement for your user. Also, the voice actions. You can pause, stop, play, etc. You know how to use the Google Assistant. And it's definitely not that hard to implement. And then correctly handle errors, because yeah, Google Assistant can have some errors. So yeah, you need to handle that properly. But it's definitely the kind of things that is easy to implement. Also, you can use Media 3. So maybe you are already using it. But Media 3, it's part of the Jetpack libraries, and it's the new home for media libraries. It includes ExoPlayer, Media Session Service, Media Controller, Media Browser, some UI components, and also a few editing components. It's making everything a lot easier to implement and also to update. So yeah, please feel free to use Media 3 library. Better together features. Those ones can be a bit complex to implement, and there is different ways to implement it. But the main example that we probably all know here, it's with Spotify. When you are using Spotify on different devices, you know that it's written, oh, this content is playing on these devices, and you can continue, and you can continue the playing on other device. You can control also the content, etc. It's definitely the kind of feature that is a wow effect to the users. So you can, like Spotify, enable the multi-device support, and also, if you find the use case to do it, with the nearby connections API, you can definitely talk to other device around you, and try to do something. It's really big feature to implement, but like I said, it's usually a wow effect to have that in an app. Cast Connect. Cast is absolutely incredible for video content, and it's not that complex to implement, to be fair. You need a sender and a receiver. The sender is usually your phone, and it will control the receiver like a remote. And the receiver, usually a Chromecast or an Android TV app, will just display your media. There is two ways to create a receiver. The Chromecast is mostly a web view, so you control a website with your phone. But with an Android TV app, there is another way to do it, and it's not by doing a web view. So it's a little bit more easier for us as an Android developer to use the Android TV way to do it. But obviously, you need an Android TV app. We have to think about like everybody. So one point that is always good to improve in any apps, but also on media apps, is accessibility. For example, you can add subtitles. If your video content have subtitles available, you can try to display them. It's not that hard. And what's the cool thing with subtitles is that now everybody can use them. You know, like we are all watching videos on Instagram, on TikTok, etc. And sometimes we don't want to hear the sound, and we just read the subtitles, and we understand absolutely everything. So yeah, if you can, please handle the subtitles, and also to make the button accessible, even on a video app, because some users can play video content. If they are visually impaired, they are not going to watch the video, but they can still hear the sound and be able to pause, to play, to select the content, etc. So we have to think of them and make the buttons accessible. Foldables. We have more and more foldables available in the world. And one thing that is good to support is the half-opened state. You know, like when the device is half-open, it's really straightforward. So with this bit of code, you will know if the device is currently half-opened or not. And then you just update the UI as needed. For example, if you use YouTube and you half-open your device, the video will be shown on the first half of the screen, and some content with the description, etc., will be shown on the bottom half of the screen. Also, you can enable HDR. So if your video content is supporting HDR, it will be enabled by default if, obviously, all the conditions are OK. With this bit of code, you can check if the device is HDR capable. And you have to be sure to use a surface view, not a texture view. If you are using a texture view, it will fall back to SDR to show the content. But if you are using surface view and the device is capable and your content is capable, it will be shown in HDR. And then now some bonuses, things that can be really easy to implement as well. For example, the integration of media resumption features. You know, like for example on Android TV, you have started to play your content, and on the home screen of your television, there is a button to say, oh, do you want to resume your content? That's definitely not hard to implement and a huge, good, cool thing to your user. You can invest more time in performance on lower powered devices. Not everybody have a Pixel phone or any high-end device. So yeah, you should always take time to improve the performance of your app in those kind of device by using, I don't know, like different DRMs, etc. Like you have to think of them, about them. To be sure to ensure design consistency with the platform. If you are making a mobile app and an Android TV app, it's always good for the user that if the apps looks kind of the same, they are not going to be lost. And also, I don't know, maybe you are going to have a different opinion with this one, but to use a maximum of Google stuff, it will be a lot easier to integrate different features for your user, for example, account linking, billing, connection, etc. So yeah, in my opinion, if you use Google stuff, it will be easier to mix with the rest of your app. During this DroidCon London, there is some other talks about Exoplayer and media stuff. So they are happening tomorrow morning, so please, if you are interested in the topics, feel free to have a look at those talks. The media stuff on Android is such a huge area. There is so many things to do and to implement and to try. So please have a look at those talks and you will learn more specific stuff. So yeah. And now, lunchtime. Thank you.